Here we go. Hey, it's the Rican, and welcome to Friday. Friday is when I touch on a bunch of different topics. Usually every day, usually just try to keep it to one topic. Um, but today is Friday, so Friday I'll touch on a bunch of different things. Try to keep it uh, short. So I'll start first with congratulations to Dan Bongino. It's a toss up between him and Ben Shapiro, who are my favorite people to listen to. And make sure I usually try to listen to them every single day. Tim Pool's another good one too. But anyway, he's getting he's basically going to be s- stepping in for the recently departed Rush Limbaugh. He's the one that's basically, I guess, first crack at um, not to replace him, but just to fill the time slot. Because um, as much as especially growing up, I wasn't a fan of Rush Limbaugh. Because obviously, because the way I was more liberal back then, but so now that I'm more libertarian, more right leaning, I enjoyed Dan Bongino. He's a funny, well informed guy. So, um, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing for him. Hopefully, with everything, hopefully his health problems are behind him, and now he could do well on the show. And speaking of shows, so today also I'm excited to check out Candace, the new show on the Daily Wire. So if you, I'm a subscriber to Daily Wire. If you're right leaning, it's something I would suggest. Either you should, if you could afford it, get them or the Blaze. Got to support right leaning companies. Um, and I wanted to check out Run High Fight and so I signed up for it. So here is she's starting this new it's a um, live audience show that she's filming in Tennessee. So I'm looking forward to see how the first episode goes, and um, probably maybe review it or something. Uh, maybe next week, and we'll see. So, and here's a bit of a funny but sad at the same time because I mean it's still our president. Uh, Biden's still our president, and you know, here's Putin challenges Biden to chat with him in a live conversation. And you know what? We're doing this to ourselves. We elected a president who just stood in the basement just because the fact that the media hated Trump and they wanted anything but Trump. But here we are. We're in a situation where we have a weak leader, a guy who's um, basically called his vice president president on more than one occasion. He first said the Harris administration, and then he just recently called her President Harris. So our enemies see weakness, and even though Russia is not really our primary enemy, because China's smelling the blood too. China today said, or what did they say this week? They were saying that the U.S. is in no position to morally argue with anyone since we're uh, a racist, immoral country. That's what happens when you say America is this horrible racist place, and we're not. And speaking of racism, since I just brought that up, I'm going to bring up this statistic. Let me move my window so you could see. Um, Percentage of violent incidences by victim and offender, race or ethnicity. So basically, I should got a 24-hour ban on Facebook from commenting on anything, because basically what I said is most violent crime perpetuated against Asians are by blacks. And it got flagged, and people were calling me racist. But here's my numbers. Look, whites are 62% or 62.1% more likely to, well, in 2018, they were 62.1% of violent incidences against whites occurred by other whites. Um, with 15.3 by blacks, 10.2 by Hispanics, and 2.2 by Asians in here. So I just want to go here. Same thing. It's pretty much across the board. It's the same thing. Whites attack whites, black attack blacks, Hispanics against Hispanics. But here's the outlier. Asian against Asian is actually about the same thing, actually the same number as Asian against white. The highest number of violent attacks against Asians is by blacks. And I brought this up and I was called racist. And I was like, I'm supporting white supremacy. Look, listen, statistics, yes, you can manipulate statistics. You could play with the numbers, but you can't change the numbers. You could always um manipulate the statistics to fit stuff that you want to talk about, but here's the numbers right here. 2018, Trump was still president, so you could they're trying to blame Trump as Biden's president. They're still trying to blame Trump, and the media, and I made a video about this, talking about the increase of hate crimes against Asians and against Jews. And I said how the media didn't want to cover it because other people of color, in particular blacks, were the ones doing it. And now that a white person did it, oh, now we're talking about Asian hate crime. And people eat it up. They eat it up. But just last week, nobody, I think Jeremy Lin wrote something about it, and, nobody was paying really attention to it. So, and, well, touched on that. Back to what I was talking about, what I wanted to talk about with Biden, when I was saying what was sad about Putin, talking about what happened. But here is, um, I mean, this is embarrassing. This is like Gerald Ford embarrassing. Here he's going up the steps once, twice, third time. And I mean, it could happen to anyone. But we're talking about a guy who and people been wondering about his mental faculties, and we're talking about I mean, this is a sign of weakness. I remember it is, it's sad. It's sad. He's our president. I don't want our president to be this weak buffoon, but he is. Um, and what can I say about that? I really can't go. Here is some, I just flip flop. I put them in order for a reason, but then I segued into so just talking about the Asian, talking about here. This is a story that that happened this week about 5 colleges embracing neo-segregation in the name of inclusion. This is ridiculous. Black only graduations, Latino only graduations. Uh, where we, what's progressive about this? This is regressive. This is the whole problem when instead of looking at each other, instead of going, oh, okay, look, let's say, okay, America has a bad history. We've never totally lived up to our ideals, but we still do have these ideals. And America is still, even with all our warts, is still the best country in the world. And we embrace, the whole thing about the melting pot and what and was about bringing the best and brightest ideas and bringing them into this country, and embracing them as our own. But here we are going, bringing back ideas from Jim Crow of segregation. I mean, how is this helping us any? How is this bringing us together? This is where what's going on is, instead of all of us embracing each other as Americans, we're all looking at each other's skin colors and um, sexual identities, or any physical characteristic. It's when we should just all be embracing each other as Americans, and that should be our unifying principle. But there's people in this country that don't want that. They don't want that unity. They want the division. They want the division. But that's another video. I gotta that's a long thing to draw out. And but last but not least, what I wanted to bring up, some more cultural stuff, just because, um, huge Harry Potter fan. Um, Me and my sister bonded on Harry Potter, so there's some just a story that I liked hearing about. Was Here's a Harry Potter actor defends J.K. Rowling, knocks cancel culture. Level of hatred is disturbing. And this is Ralph Fiennes, I believe, right? Ralph Fiennes played Voldemort. Is standing up for J.K. Rowling. Well, you better be careful, because you defend someone, you get canceled yourself, and that's I'm glad that he's doing it. I mean, more people need to stand up, and you know, people. This is the whole thing. As long as regular people stay quiet, is it the saying that goes, for evil to win, good people just need to do nothing, something like that. I'm blowing the quote, but this is what's going on. What's going on is wicked, and I don't mean it in the wicked, like sinful stuff like that. I mean, it's just downright wicked. What's going on, confusing young people, and um, just what's the way that it's trying to demolish society. Oh, it just makes me angry and sad at the same time, because having kids and knowing that my kids and my nephews and my nieces are growing up in this world, in this type of environment. It makes me sad and angry. It just does. It makes me sad to think about what they have to go with, but it makes me angry, and this is why I do. Part of my motivation for why I do these videos, um, is to just to be a voice that I got friends who reach out to me on Messenger, because they'll see my post and they'll go, um, I would never dare to say something like that. That's a problem. That's the problem. If you can't say, you have to be able to stand up for yourself. Basically, cancel culture, woke ideology, they're bullies. That's why you see even when you apologize, they don't care. They still go for blood. So your best bet, unless you really truly feel sorry, don't apologize. Don't do it. Just stand your ground and have a spine, and that's the way you'll win. That's the way we'll all win, because this ideology is a cancer. It's a cancer that's killing our country. Um, and no, here's my Friday rant. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and follow my channels. I'm on the Right Rican, either YouTube or Rumble, whichever one. I'm on social media, on Twitter, Gab, screw Facebook, because right now I'm a 24-hour comment ban, and Parlor. I almost forgot Parlor, but all right. Well, everyone, that being said, I hope you guys have a good weekend. I don't know why that happened right there. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and keep the keep the faith.